to create time and distance in order to escape.
Most of us carry an arsenal of self-defense tools with us every day without even realizing it. Even simple items like magazines or keys can become weapons. But how effective are they?
Okay, guys, as a female, one of the times when I'm most fearful is when I'm working late at night and then I start to walk out to my car. It's dark, that's the prime time for attacks. What do I have that I could use in case I were attacked?
Well, firstly, awareness is the most important thing. Secondly, you should always get in the habit of carrying your keys in between your fingers like this. Keep the palm, the base in the palm, the stem protruding through. If you get in the habit of just carrying it like that and a situation does occur, then you'll be ready to strike.
The large enough force concentrated in that key will definitely be able to penetrate the skin and could do considerable damage, especially to the weak spots in the face.
Certainly.
But can ordinary keys really help to fend off an attack?
So where exactly should I target?
Anywhere through the sinuses here, the top lip under here, anywhere from here to here.
The surprise element is going to be a big factor as well. Nobody's going to be expecting to get hit in the face with a sharp object that they can't see.
But is it enough to stop an attacker in their tracks? Once again, technology will tell the tale. The scientists want to know how effective this strike could be against a real target. So they've brought in a ballistics gel head form that accurately represents a human skull.
So it's anatomically correct. It has all the facial bones that a human skull would have. Then what we've done is we've surrounded it in ballistics gel. What that ballistics gel represents is the soft tissue of the human face.
Bren places the key between his index and middle fingers. With the base anchored firmly against his palm, the key protrudes like a cat's claw. But will it just scratch, or can it actually save a life?
Okay, Bren, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, strike.
Nice.
So you went right in there, and probably if we dissect this down, we could see maybe even a mark right on the bone. Did you feel like you hit the bone?
I don't think I hit bone.
It could have glanced off the bone, went into the eye cavity.
High-speed filming reveals the extent of the destruction. Bren's 2-inch steel key hits the gel head with 247 pounds of force. It penetrates the ballistics gel and strikes the cheekbone, deflecting off into the eye socket.
That amount of force would certainly break the bone.
But the eye is so sensitive that even half that amount of force could temporarily incapacitate an attacker.
Into the center, all the bones sliding into the eye, it's good enough. Just aiming to the center of the face, it's good enough.
The secret is surface area, when all of the force is concentrated into the point of a single key. Even minimal pressure from an average person can inflict serious damage. But what if someone isn't carrying their keys? Some self-defense experts say just about anything could be used as a weapon.
So I understand you can take something as simple as a magazine and use it as a weapon.
You certainly can. What I like to do, I roll it very, very tightly, as tight as I possibly can.
It may take a few seconds, but stalling an attacker can create enough time to fight back.
Now from here, if I fold this in the center, really squeeze that bend point, I now have a very strong striking surface.
So you're thinking you can generate more force with that magazine rolled up than you could with just your bare fist?
I think the force could be equal to my punch, but because of the concentrated area, I could do particular damage to particular things.
Okay, well, we have something for you to test that theory on, okay? So we're going to come over here. What we have inside here is an 1/8-inch piece of tempered glass.
In this test, Bren will attempt to break the glass, first with his fist, then with a rolled-up magazine. The purpose? To see if he can cause more damage with an object that has less surface area.
In order to protect Bren's hand, we're going to have him wear a boxing glove because we're a little concerned that he might break the glass.
A strain gauge on the glass will measure the impact forces and send data to a computer.
Our goal is to see kind of how much damage you can cause with just your strike versus your strike with the magazine rolled up.
3, 2, 1, punch.
The strain gauge shows that even with a padded glove, Bren stresses the glass with 7,000 pounds per square inch.
Okay, so you didn't break it.
No.
Okay.
That was a good shot, though.
What do you think? Do you think you're going to break it with the magazine?
I think because it's a concentrated area, with the magazine, that's going to be really focused.
So it's going to cause more damage?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Bren will strike the glass again, but this time he'll use his improvised weapon. Will it increase the effectiveness of his strike? Even a tiny improvement could be the difference between fighting back and falling prey.
You ready, Bren?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, punch.
Bren strikes the glass with even less force than he did with his fist, but he creates more stress in the glass, over 18,000 pounds per square inch. But the folded magazine concentrates the impact into a much smaller area, less effort, yet more damage. The results are shattering.
So that was effective.
Yeah. It was clear with the folded magazine I did a lot more damage to the glass than I did with my fist.
So a simple weapon, almost anything at hand, like a folded magazine, can give even an average person a major boost in effectiveness and thus a fighting chance to survive. Here's how it works. As with the key strike, many weapons' effectiveness comes from simple physics. The concentration of relatively modest force into a tiny surface area. It's especially effective when striking a vulnerable area of the body, such as the throat. An impact here of sufficient force can crush the trachea, cutting off the assailant's airflow. The lesson: almost anything can be used as an improvised weapon, turning an ordinary punch into a devastating blow through the application of pure physics. But how do experts fight back when the assailant is the one with the weapon?
Fighting back is your last option. If you could not avoid it, solve the situation as fast as possible and leave the area.
When fleeing isn't an option, the first obstacle to overcome is panic. In a life-or-death situation against an armed opponent, how does someone conquer their fear and take control of their body's natural instinct to defend itself? Helping us answer this question is Jonathan Dugas, a police officer who's also a Krav Maga instructor, and Amir Peretz, our self-defense expert. Their first situation is all too common in street attacks: an assailant with a club or bat.
Okay, Amir, what are my options if somebody comes after me with something like this?
Well, overall, the concept and the main principle is to close the distance suddenly and explosively, so the lower and closer you get, you deal with less resistance. The natural reaction to attack with a bat is to raise your hand over your head and cover up. And that causes people to break their arm because of the angle, 90-degree angle.
Human long bones are weakest horizontally, so absorbing the full impact across the arm is a recipe for disaster.
Just leaning forward and sending your hand forward, you see that you're already starting to deflecting and redirecting the stick. Right. If you lower yourself more, the stick will be deflected away from you.
The surprising secret: don't shrink away from the strike, lunge toward it. It appears to work, moving into the baton instead of away and deflecting its impact on an angle. But will the physics bear out the theory?
What we're going to do is we're going to try to test that theory out using a couple different things. First of all, we have a stick that we've instrumented. Okay, so this is a standard kind of stick that you might come up against, right? Mm-hmm. So, and what I've done is we've put an accelerometer on the top of it. We're going to have you actually test this theory on a crash test dummy.
Substituting for a real human is our crash test dummy, with its arm strapped into a common defensive position, perpendicular to the angle of attack. Sensors inside the arm will measure the impact of the blow, and an accelerometer in the baton will measure the speed.
Amir, are you ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, strike.
Amir swings the baton at 82 feet per second, delivering a strike of 2,373 pounds of force. The nightstick Amir is using is a standard police baton made of hardened nylon that flexes on impact. Yet it delivers over a ton of force. Easily enough to break both the ulna and the radius bones in the forearm. The strike hits both bones across their weakest axis. This injury could be debilitating. The victim would have no chance of escape. The crew repositions the dummy for the next test, but now its arms are extended forward, in line with the angle of attack, the angle that experts recommend for self-defense.
Okay, Amir, is this basically how someone should react when someone comes at him with a bat?
About, yes.
Okay, so kind of in this position.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, you ready, Amir?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, strike.
Once again, Amir swings at 82 feet per second, but the data is strikingly different. Because of the angle of the arm, he deals the dummy only a glancing blow, with a measured impact of only 200 pounds of force, 1/10 the force of the initial strike, and not nearly as likely to break bones. The club then slides down the side of the arm and is deflected away from the body. It's pure physics and geometry. The defensive move gives the defender a chance to escape.
Okay, I think we can see pretty clearly it's a lot different, right?
The concept is, again, to close the distance, you deflect and redirect the attack.
So we're talking the difference between having an abrasion or a scratch versus a broken arm. Well, that's great information to know, because I never would have thought of that.
But what if the attack weapon is a gun? It's a common attack scenario, and one of the most terrifying. Out of nowhere, a gun to the back.
When the attacker has a gun, it's a very dangerous situation. You should only fight back when you have no choice, and you must know there are things you can do.
Is there a way to disarm an assailant in this dangerous situation?
Okay, everyone, we're gonna show a defense against a threat with a gun to my back. We are using a real gun with some munition rounds. So it's extremely dangerous. The set turns into a hot range now. I want to see everyone putting their safety glasses on now.
Jonathan Dugas will serve as the bad guy in this scenario. He'll be using simunition rounds. These are training cartridges that fire a non-lethal but sometimes painful dye marker instead of a metal bullet. Amir will try to disarm his attacker without getting shot.
Move.
Stay down, on your stomach.
He took control of the situation.
Spread your hands.
But how did he do it?
Look away from...
Slow motion reveals the secret behind Amir's incredible takedown. First, he decides which hand his attacker is using to hold the gun and turns inward, taking his body out of the line of fire. This allows him to control the arm holding the gun. Amir then seizes the weapon and uses the gun itself as leverage against the attacker's wrist and trigger finger. Amir's expertise even allows him to reverse the gun and use it himself. For the average person, the goal is to wrench the gun free and get away fast. The entire exchange takes under 5 seconds.
On your stomach!
It's clear that physics, physiology, and training can help you defend yourself, turn an everyday object into a weapon, and even turn the tables on an armed assailant. But what if there was a way to actually predict an attack and prevent it from happening altogether? Awareness is the key to self-defense. It always seems to happen when people are the least prepared for it. They may be on their way home from work or returning to their car after shopping. Suddenly, their life is in danger.
Give me the car keys. Give me the car keys. Don't play with me. Give me the car
Okay, you
keys.
can take it.
The first step in self-defense is exactly as simple as it sounds. Pay attention. Experts call it situational awareness.
Situational awareness means being more aware of your surroundings. You know where you are, you look around, and you recognize a potential danger. You can react earlier, and you can actually deal with it much better.
To show how situational awareness really works, sports physiologist David Sandler has devised an experiment.